Can I be real? Can I say what I feel? Can I
Hey, what's up everyone? I am Chelsea Briggs and I am so excited to be sitting down with Brynn Elliott right now, who has an EP out, Can I Be Real?
Yes.
So excited to talk about it.
Thank you.
I always think this time is like you finish your EP, it's like, how are you feeling right now about it being complete?
I'm feeling really good.
Yeah.
I feel so excited that this EP is complete and done, especially given what we've all been through this last year. It just feels like a nice kind of resolution to a long chapter. I feel good.
Well, and I love it because you just moved to LA
Yeah.
during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so how are you kind of transitioning with being in LA? You wrote your album here. Did you ever think you were going to write your second EP here in LA?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I never really thought that I would move here. I was living in Nashville after I graduated college, and I just loved everything I was doing in Nashville, and I just sort of did a random trip out here to write with some people, some songwriters out here, and completely fell in love and thought, wow, I want to write with these folks every day. And yeah, I collaborated with them for the whole project. So it's really fun to do that with people that I really loved and trusted. And then, yeah, I moved out here just to continue creating.
And do you love, like, how is Brynn, LA version of Brynn? Do you like where you're at?
Yeah, I do. I think, Can I Be Real is the title of my project, and I think coming to LA, I had this sort of assumption of like LA is like
totally,
like stardom, and I just always really wanted to be the most authentic version of myself, and so I think I was always afraid of LA for those reasons. I was like, oh, I don't want to become someone else or something like that. But I think I came here knowing who I am, and I think that's the way to enter into LA. Is like, if you know who you are and you just find your people, then it's a really good place to create and live.
Well, I love it too because you released your first EP, Time of Our Lives, right when you were going to school at Harvard.
Yeah.
And now you're writing this a few years later when you're out here in LA. Where's your headspace when you're kind of getting to the creative side of making this album, would you say?
Yeah, my head was right in that place of like, I had graduated on a Thursday, packed up my dorm room on a Friday, and then immediately the next week I was on the road promoting my first single and first project. I signed to a record label. It was all very new.
You had a lot of early success too, so it was like you saw that side of it.
Yeah, we hit the ground running, and I was like playing on the Today Show, and my mom was crying, and I was on tour, and it was just like all these wonderful things were happening, and I loved it. I loved the work of it. I loved performing, and so when I got off the road, and it was like, okay, I want to write my next project, I had to really think, what from this experience, from these 2 years, do I have to write about? And it was just kind of that idea of like, I love performing, I love this life, and I feel so grateful to be able to put out music and for it to be my job. But I want to make sure that in the midst of all of this performance, I remain myself. I remain real, and I'm such a people pleaser. Like, I want everyone to like me and be cool.
Sure.
Like, yes. And so, but I think that can be pretty dangerous as a performer when, you're supposed to, and as a songwriter, as someone who, I really want to write from my experience and from who I am, because I think that's some of the most powerful art, and the art that really helps others, like helps people. I know that the songwriters that I really looked up to growing up were ones who were just writing from their own experience. So I asked myself that question, can I be real? And I just wanted every song to be completely true, completely honest for me in that moment. Even if, 3 years down the line I change, I just wanted to be myself.
How would you say, like, the first EP, kind of what you learned about yourself through that process, how would you say that's prepared you for the release of this one? Or like defined you as an artist, I guess, would be the question.
Yeah, I think my first project defined me as an artist, definitely sonically. I love to write anthems, and I don't think I will ever stop writing like that sort of anthemic, kind of empowering, encouraging music. And that's something that I definitely did in that first EP. And sonically, I think it's just kind of grown for this next one. There's a little bit more kind of live sounding instruments, and that's just kind of something I've always loved. So yeah, I think that first EP was also all about my college experience, and I wrote it over the 4 years that I was there. And I think that was a really good place to start, of like, that had been my experience for 4 years. And so I was writing songs about that. So I think going into this project, I knew, okay, I want to write about exactly what I've been going through. So, yeah.
Well, and I love that in describing this EP, and you said it a few times, it's like finding your authentic voice. What was that process like for you? And you said you know who you are, but do you still find yourself kind of having to have that pep talk with yourself of, who am I sometimes? I think we all do, and that's why I ask it too.
Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah.
I think we all do sort of internally know who we are, but it's sort of in the moments where we want others to like us, or we want to be considered, we like try to, I'm really interested in like perception and the way that we like try to, that's why social media fascinates me so much, because it's all about the way that you look and the way that you're presenting yourself. And so I think for me, like in Can I Be Real, the track, I talk about things that are kind of embarrassing, like how opinionated I can be sometimes, and how intense and aggressive, and like that's not something I've necessarily shared with the world, but it's very true of me. And so yeah, I think it's just about sort of being honest about who I am, and in this world of kind of social media where we try to present our best selves, I just want this music to encourage people to present their real selves, and so I've been trying to do that.
Well, I think you're doing a great job, and I also, because it's like, even what I love about your music is that it is music with a message, and like I find myself listening to it, and I'm like, yes, I'm like, yes, this is so empowering, and it's like, it is. When you talk about social media, that's so much about what me and my friends talk about, you know, and then the struggles with it, and like, I kind of want to know how, knowing that you want to touch on the social media side of things, because it is such a big thing in our world right now, like, how did that come to you? Was it just sort of a natural, like, I need to bring this up in my music?
Yeah, I think it was just something I've spent a lot of time thinking about social media, and I think it was actually an experience that I had right before going to college. I like got accepted and was immediately put in this Facebook group of like all the new sort of 2018 class folks. And so I got to know a lot of people through that group on Facebook before going to college. And it was just really interesting because people were so different than my assumptions of them. So I think that sort of was a very jarring experience for me. And just kind of throughout college, just seeing like how we present ourselves on the internet is very different from sometimes how it is in real life. And then just being in this world of the music industry and being a woman and feeling different kinds of pressures from the internet. And then just seeing my fans, a lot of my fans are younger girls, and just seeing kind of what they're posting about, and especially in terms of like body image and self-image and self-worth, I'm just seeing like what social media is doing to the way that we view ourselves. And I think what you said is really cool. Like, social media is here to stay, and it's a good thing. Like, it connects us, especially during the pandemic. It's been such a godsend. But I think it's important to start having conversations about how we relate to it and how much value we should place on it in terms of like our sense of self. So yeah, these are just things I think about, and whatever I think about is what I write about in my music. So, like
you said, a lot of young people follow you. So what would be your advice to them about just how to handle their social media? Like, what do you say?
Yeah,
I know it's like it's a tricky topic, but
it is a tricky topic. I would say to anyone who is feeling overwhelmed by social media, that social media can't capture all of you, and that's okay. Like, you are a human being, and you're so much more than a picture you post or a TikTok you made. those things are fun and those things are awesome, but like remember that you're a human being and not a picture on a screen, I think is the biggest thing.